Everywhere you look, people are exhausted, not from hard work, but from the constant need to be liked, noticed, and approved. We don't just live anymore, we perform. We refresh our feeds like gamblers pulling a slot machine, waiting for that tiny hit of validation. But here's the harsh truth. The more you crave approval, the more power you give away. Monks saw this trap centuries ago, and they discovered how to steal that power back, even while the world sleeps. Look around you. Most people don't just check their phones, they bow to them. The glow of a screen has become the morning sun, the red notification has become the new god, and a stranger's approval has become the daily prayer answered. But here's the hard truth. If your happiness depends on likes, comments, and shares, then your freedom is gone. You're not in control. Algorithms are. Every swipe, every scroll, every refresh is training your brain to crave another dose of digital applause. You're no longer living for yourself. You're performing for an audience you'll never even meet. Think about it. How many people post, not because they want to capture a memory, but because they want to be seen? Vacations aren't for rest anymore, they're for proof. Meals aren't for nourishment, they're for photos. Even smiles are staged for a camera, not for genuine joy. This is slavery disguised as connection. Monks remind us that real freedom isn't about throwing away technology. It's about breaking free from the need to be seen. They don't live for likes, they live for truth. They don't measure their self-worth by clicks. They measure it by how aligned they are with their values. And here's the challenge for you. If social media disappeared tomorrow, would you still feel valuable? Would you still feel seen? Still feel enough? If your answer is no, then you've already handed away your power. Taking it back doesn't mean deleting your accounts. It means rewiring your relationship with them. Post because you want to share, not because you need applause. Smile because you feel joy, not because you want recognition. And most importantly, remind yourself daily. Your worth is not measured in pixels. It's measured in presence. Today's world has turned life into a stage. People are no longer living for themselves. They're performing for others. Every move, every outfit, every post is carefully curated, rehearsed, and filtered, not for truth, but for attention. Think about how exhausting this performance is. You smile in pictures even when you're broken inside. You post motivational quotes when you yourself are drowning in doubt. You spend more time editing your life than living it. And the audience you're performing for, they're not even paying that much attention because they're too busy performing for someone else. This cycle is endless. You perform, they clap. You crave more claps, but applause fades. The stage goes dark. And when you're finally alone, you're left with the question, who am I when no one is watching? Monks don't perform. They live authentically. They don't adjust their behavior to impress an audience. They don't rehearse lines to win approval. They live in alignment with their values, whether or not anyone is watching. That's why they're free. Here's the truth. Performing for others is like renting your soul out for cheap applause. Living authentically, on the other hand, is owning your life fully. When you stop asking, how will they see me? And start asking, am I aligned with who I really am? You stop bleeding energy. So here's your challenge. The next time you catch yourself pretending, exaggerating, or posting something only to look impressive, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for the audience? Because the day you stop performing is the day you start living. Look around at today's world and you'll see it everywhere. People are going broke, not because they don't have enough, but because they're spending their lives trying to impress others. The car isn't for transportation, it's for validation. The designer clothes aren't for comfort, they're for approval. Even the vacations aren't about rest anymore. They're staged photo shoots just to prove, look at me, I'm living the dream. But here's the trap. The more you try to impress, the emptier you become. You might get the applause, but inside you're bankrupt, emotionally, mentally, and even financially. Because no matter how much you give, the world always asks for more. The approval of others is a debt that can never be fully paid. Monks live the opposite way. They are rich while owning very little. They don't buy to impress. They live to express. They don't ask, will they think I'm successful? They ask, am I living simply and truthfully? Their wealth is not in things, it's in freedom. And this is where the modern world has it backwards. People think wealth is measured by how much you show off, but monks remind us, wealth is measured by how little you need to show. Because real confidence, we live in an age of endless noise. Opinions fly at us 24/7, on the news, on social media, in workplaces, even within families. Everyone has something to say, and most people feel a desperate need to respond. If someone criticizes you, you rush to defend yourself. If someone questions you, you scramble to prove you're right. If someone misunderstands you, you spend hours trying to explain. But here's the trap. Every time you explain and justify yourself, you are unconsciously saying, your approval of me matters more than my peace. And once you step into that cycle, you'll never win. Why? Because people who are determined to misunderstand you will never be convinced by words. They don't want the truth. They want a reaction. Think about the internet. A stranger drops a hateful comment on your post. Instantly, you feel the urge to reply, to clap back, to put them in their place. But even if you win the argument, what have you lost? Your time, your energy, your peace of mind. You've traded serenity for noise. Monks do the opposite. They understand a simple truth. Silence can never be misquoted. They don't waste time convincing others because they know their life, their discipline, and their presence are proof enough. Their silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It says, I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need to explain myself. I know who I am, and that is enough. And silence has another hidden power. It unsettles people. When you don't react, you take away the fuel that feeds conflict. Arguments die when one side refuses to fight. Attacks lose power when the target doesn't respond. Silence turns you into a mirror, forcing others to face their own noise without dragging you into it. So here's the challenge. The next time someone criticizes you unfairly, resist the urge to explain. The next time someone provokes you just to get a reaction, stay silent. Not because you are weak, but because you've chosen peace over performance. You'll notice something incredible. The more you practice silence, the less people can control you. Because justification is a chain, but silence is liberation. And in a world where everyone is screaming to be heard, the one who stays calm speaks the loudest. Nothing steals joy faster than comparison. And in today's world, comparison is everywhere, built into the very design of the apps we use every day. You open Instagram or TikTok, and immediately you're shown someone richer, someone fitter, someone younger, someone more successful. You weren't even unhappy a moment ago, but now you suddenly feel like your life is behind. That's the hidden poison of comparison. It blinds you to your own blessings. You stop appreciating what you have because you're too busy staring at what you don't. The truth is, most of the people you compare yourself to are only showing a highlight reel, not their reality. That influencer who looks perfect on camera might be miserable off screen. That friend who seems to be living the dream may be drowning in debt. But comparison doesn't care about truth. It only feeds your insecurity. Monks know this. They don't measure their worth against others because they understand that every path is different. The tree doesn't compare itself to the mountain. The The river doesn't envy the ocean. Each flows in its own way. Why then do we keep measuring our chapter 1 against someone else's chapter 20? Here's the reality. Comparison is endless. If you're rich, there's someone richer. If you're beautiful, there's someone more beautiful. If you're successful, there's someone more successful. The race never ends because you're running on someone else's track. That's why monks step off the track completely. They focus only on their own growth. Instead of asking, "Am I better than them?" they ask, "Am I better than who I was yesterday?" That shift changes everything. Because when you focus on self-progress, you can only win. Some days progress will be small, a little more patience, a little more discipline. Other days it will be big, a breakthrough, a new habit, a life-changing decision. But no matter what, the victory is yours alone. Think about how much lighter life becomes when you stop comparing. You don't need to be as rich as your neighbor to feel secure. You don't need to look like someone online to feel attractive. You don't need to outdo your friends to feel successful. Peace comes the moment you realize you are not in competition with anyone except your past self. So here's the challenge. The next time you feel that sting of comparison, pause and ask yourself, what do I have right now that I once prayed for? Gratitude kills comparison. And when you combine gratitude with self-focus, comparison loses its grip on you. Because at the end of the day, comparison is the thief of peace. And monks remind us, peace is worth more than any victory in the race of appearances. We live in an age where life itself has become a stage play. People don't just exist anymore, they perform. Every action, every word, even every smile is filtered through one question. How will others see this? Think about it. Someone is sitting at a cafe, not enjoying the smell of fresh coffee or the sound of quiet chatter, but positioning the cup just right for a photo. Families go on vacations, not to rest, but to collect proof that they're happy. Even in moments of sadness, people post cryptic quotes, hoping someone will notice. It's not living, it's acting. And the tragedy? The role never ends. This constant performance is exhausting because it disconnects you from yourself. You no longer laugh because you're joyful. You laugh because it looks good. You no longer chase dreams because they call to your soul. You chase them because they'll impress others. Slowly, your true self gets buried under layers of masks until you can't even tell where the performance ends and where you begin. Monks refuse this game. They step off the stage completely. For them, life isn't about applause, it's about alignment. They don't measure their worth by the size of their audience, but by the clarity of their conscience. Instead of asking, did they approve? They ask, did I live truthfully today? They walk without pretense, without costumes, without scripts. And that's why they radiate peace in a world full of restless actors. When you perform for others, your identity becomes fragile. It survives only under the spotlight. The moment the applause fades, so does your sense of worth. That's why so many people feel hollow when they're alone. The silence feels unbearable, because without the performance, they don't know who they are. But when you start living authentically, silence becomes healing. It no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like freedom. Here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I look to them? And start asking, how does this feel to me? Stop trying to record the memory and start living it. Stop curating your existence for strangers and start experiencing it for yourself. Don't worry about being seen. Worry about seeing the beauty of the moment, the miracle of being alive, the connections you're actually present for. A monk doesn't need an audience to feel alive, and neither do you. The world doesn't need another flawless performance. What it desperately needs is your authentic presence. Raw, Imperfect, but real. Because truth, once lived, speaks louder than any show you could ever put on. Here's a truth most people don't want to face. Approval is an illusion. It feels solid, but it's smoke. You think you've earned someone's respect? You think you've secured someone's admiration? But it's as fragile as glass. It can shatter in a second. One mistake, one rumor, one moment where you don't meet their expectations, and suddenly the approval vanishes. You're left confused, questioning yourself, replaying everything in your head. And the cycle begins again. You chase harder, you bend lower, you give more of yourself away, hoping to get back a smile, a nod, a like. But every time you reach out, it slips through your fingers. That's the trap. Approval is never yours. It belongs to the one giving it, and they can take it away whenever they want. Which means if you build your life on approval, you've built your house on sand. It will collapse. Not if, but when. Monks saw this clearly thousands of years ago. That's why they don't chase approval. They chase mastery. Not mastery over others, but mastery over themselves. Because here's the paradox. The moment you stop begging for approval, people actually respect you more. The moment you stop needing the crowd begins to notice you. But monks don't even care about that. Their power comes from knowing, I am enough whether the world claps or not. Look at today's world. It's proof of how fragile approval really is. Celebrities worshipped one day are canceled the next. Politicians rise on waves of applause and fall just as fast. Even in ordinary life, friends shift, opinions change, people move on. If your worth is tied to approval, you'll live like a leaf in the wind, always tossed around, never grounded. But if your worth is tied to your principles, your discipline, your truth, then you stand like a mountain. Winds may howl, storms may rage, but you remain unmoved. Ask yourself this: if tomorrow nobody praised you, nobody noticed you, nobody clapped for you, would you still walk your path? If the answer is yes, then you've already stolen back the power monks talk about. That's freedom. That's real strength. Because true success isn't when others approve of you. It's when you no longer need their approval to keep going. Here's the secret monks understood. Self-mastery is the highest form of respect you can give yourself. It means you discipline your emotions, control your reactions, choose your path, and refuse to sell your soul for applause. And when you live this way, you don't just stop drowning in stress. You start breathing deeply, freely, fully. So remember this: approval is borrowed. It can be taken back at any moment. But mastery is owned. It's yours forever. One is fragile like glass. The other is unshakable like stone. Stop chasing smoke. Start building your foundation. That's when you'll finally realize the world doesn't hold your power. You do. And once you taste that truth, nobody can ever steal it from you again. Conclusion. Think about everything we've uncovered. In today's world, most people are living like prisoners, shackled by likes, trapped by opinions, and enslaved by the endless chase for approval. But monks, they broke those chains long ago. While the world performs, they stay authentic. While the world begs for attention, they build inner strength. While others drown in noise, they breathe in silence and walk with peace. And that's the choice you face every single day. Do you keep living for applause that fades the moment the crowd turns away? Or do you step into real freedom, the kind that no one can give you and no one can take from you? Because here's the truth. Approval is not power. It's bait. Real power is self-mastery. It's the ability to say, even if no one claps, I will keep going. Even if no one notices, I will still live with truth. Even if the world doubts me, I will not doubt myself. When you stop chasing the world starts chasing you. But by then, you won't even care, because you'll already be free. So take this moment right now to steal your power back, not tomorrow, not someday, right now. Because the moment you stop living for others is the moment you start truly living for yourself.